on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
What a day it is on the calendar. December 23rd, you know what that means. Happy Festivus, Grayson Singleton.
Happy Festivus to you, too.
Thank you, sir. Shout out to Frank Costanza. But it is Festivus, and we are live with an hour of OU football, portal, and recruiting talk before we turn it over to the guys on the rush at 3 p.m. And I guess this is the last show before Christmas break for you, right? Because we got a weird half-day arrangement tomorrow.
Yeah, so I guess that wipes out our show, so.
Yes, our show has become a casualty of the abbreviated Christmas Eve schedule, which, frankly, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I'll work a half day on Christmas Eve.
Work a little half day.
You ask me to work a full day on Christmas Eve, there might be some conflict. But half day, I can stomach it.
Yeah, no, get you a, or at least I will get a head start going back home for the holidays, so.
And you know how Festivus begins every year, Grayson Singleton.
What's that?
Come on now. You know your Seinfeld lore here?
Oh, gosh, I talked about this with Josh earlier today. I did not grow up watching Seinfeld.
That's fair. I didn't either. I really only became familiar with sitcoms in general when I got to college.
See,
I think Parks and Rec was the first show I ever watched all the way through, and I didn't finish it till I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch TV shows growing up. Lived in one of those households.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of TV growing up either, and most of the TV I watch now is not sitcom. That sitcom's just not my there's.
You're more of a rom-com guy?
No, and the
daytime soap opera?
No, oh God no, no. No, I'm more of Game of Thrones is my favorite TV show.
Okay.
So shows like that, some things on Netflix. Hey, by the way, speaking of TV and entertainment, did you see the new trailer dropped for Avengers Doomsday?
I did not see that.
Are you a big Marvel guy?
I am not a big Marvel guy.
Okay, well, that just completely blows that up. Really? Yeah. You're not?
I'm not. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Wish we could bond over this.
You're probably the only person that is in our generation that I've met that is not that is not Marvel, or at least only dude. Let me say that.
I tell you, man, I just I'm a very simple man, all things considered. The majority of my time and energy is devoted to college football. I have time for a smattering of other things here and there, music, chess. What would you call outdoorsmanship? I suppose that's not a word. I like spending time outdoors.
That's good. No, outdoorsmanship is good enough.
I like getting yard work done around our house.
Here we go. Jordan on the YouTube chat says Parker hasn't seen any movies besides Moneyball.
Yeah, you know what? That ain't true, all right? I've seen many movies besides Moneyball, and I will quote them on occasion. But Moneyball is certainly the movie I've seen the most. I've watched that movie probably 25, 30 times.
Why?
Because, how long has it been since it came out? 15 years?
I haven't even seen Star Wars that many times.
Once or twice a year?
Would that be once or twice? I guess it would be. I guess.
Parker might be the only dude in your generation that acts like he's 65, says Brian and Bixby. I am somewhat of an anachronism. We've been over this before. I embrace it. It is who I am. It is what it is. It is who I am. But Festivus, Grayson, starts every year with the airing of grievances.
Are
you ready to air some grievances? You have grievances that you feel you need to air? This is your opportunity to get it all out before we break for the holiday.
You know, I want you to start first, man. What? Because you don't.
I have a grievance to air.
I would say you don't go on any grievous related related rants.
Here is the grievance that I am inclined to air on this Festivus. It's going to be a travesty if Owen Heineke is not granted an additional year of eligibility at the University of Oklahoma.
Go off.
Because, my goodness, man, in an era where eligibility standards in general have basically been thrown out the window, where guys are playing 6, 7, 8, even 9 years of college football in Cam McCormick's case, all of a sudden you have a guy that has played college football for 3 years, was on the roster as a redshirt for a fourth. You're going to deny him the opportunity. I guess we don't know for a fact that the NCAA is going to deny him on his appeal, but the fact that he has to appeal in the first place because he played 3 games of an entirely different sport at Ohio State as a college freshman in 2021. It's going to be a travesty if Owen Heineke cannot return to the University of Oklahoma in 2026. And to his credit, he is not up a creek. It's not like he's going to be working at Vandelay Industries next year. There's another Seinfeld reference for you if he can't come back to Oklahoma. He's received an invite to the Senior Bowl. He's accepted tentatively an invite to the Senior Bowl. And he has made himself a draftable player here in 2025. He is a guy that, as of right now, depending on how he tests, is probably going to wind up a late-round selection or a high-priority undrafted free agent. And he is going to get a chance to make a 53-man NFL roster. And good on him for doing so. He had the most out-of-nowhere individual season that I can recall at the University of Oklahoma. Because a guy like Taylor Wine was a highly coveted prospect, late bloomer, sure, but he's also a redshirt sophomore. You expect at a certain point that scholarship football players at a place like Oklahoma are going to start to produce. So while Taylor Wine's breakout was enjoyable and certainly somewhat surprising in terms of the level of impact he made, you're not stunned beyond belief that Taylor Wine turned out to be a really good football player at the University of Oklahoma. You are stunned beyond belief that a guy who walked on, took a year off from playing the sport as a college freshman, and played literally just special teams for the entirety of his Oklahoma career up until the 2025 season, suddenly emerged as one of Oklahoma's most crucial, most capable defenders. And so for me, I'm thrilled that Owen Heineke has been able to get to where he is today, with a chance to go make an NFL roster if he has no alternative next year. But if he is denied the opportunity to return to the University of Oklahoma, I think that is an administrative travesty. And I don't want to hear that, well, actually, it might create a slippery slope for dual sport. I don't care. The slope isn't slippery enough as it is.
I was going to say, we're already at the bottom of it.
We have TJ Finley applying for a waiver to not only play his 7th year of college football, Grayson, but to play for his 7th university. That's where we're at.
Okay, so I'm going to quote another TV show here in just a second. But basically what he's appealing is that you played 3 games of lacrosse at Ohio State. Now, here's my entire take on this. If you're going to deny his appeal just based on, well, you played 3 games of lacrosse and lacrosse has different rules than football does, you're holding on to rigidity a little bit too long. And this is an example of the NCAA trying to hold on to what little power that it has left if they were to go the route of denying him that extra year of eligibility. Now, in terms of the letter of the law, because the letter of the law would state that Owen Heineke is out of eligibility. There is a TV show that I like on Netflix called The 100. And in season 1 of that, there is a quote that says, being in charge is not knowing when to enforce the law. It is knowing when not to. And to me, this is a very good case of when not to. And
That's
just,
a really good quote.
And just
That's
let,
kind of a banger.
And just let common sense, it really is, isn't it? But it just let common sense kind of flow here. You played 3 games of lacrosse. It's a different sport. If he played the full season, okay, you got a little bit more of an argument there. But I don't know what percentage of it is. It's a very small percentage. Let the man play. Let him come back for 1 year. And I get that, like, he went out on the presser and said, no, I just really love Oklahoma. I don't really care about the money. I'm not trying to transfer for a bigger bag or whatnot. To me, that shouldn't even factor into all of this. Just common sense and get away from the old-time rigidity of how we had things and let the dude play 1 more year.
Chris from OK, Oklahoma says, I, quote, tweeted dang near the exact same thing a couple days ago. Insane how some of these dudes get 7th and 8th years, and Owen Heineke can't get one for playing lacrosse at another institution. And I thought Owen Heineke made a really compelling appeal in front of the microphone when he met with the local media after Friday's game, when he basically said, look, I hope the NCAA can see my case for what it is. Which, I'm not a guy who cares a whole heck of a lot about NIL. I'm not trying to go somewhere and make a ton of money. I love the University of Oklahoma, and I love being here. And I love wearing this uniform. And he does, and it means something to him. He's an in-state kid who obviously has a family legacy at OU. And he came to Oklahoma to walk on with the full understanding, and you could argue perhaps an expectation as well, that he was never going to see meaningful time. I mean, when you're a walk-on, yeah, you're going to dream big, no doubt. You're going to have visions of becoming what Drake Stoops was at Oklahoma, for instance, and carving out a consistent role. Brian Meade, another great recent example of a walk-on who did pretty dang well for himself. But for the 90 to 95%, that never happens. And so Owen Heineke, to do what he's done at Oklahoma in 2025 is impressive enough in its own right. And I hope if he has no recourse but to declare for the NFL draft, he's able to hear his name called on draft day. I expect that especially if he tests well enough, he will. But, man, it would be awesome to see a guy like that back in uniform at the University of Oklahoma in 2026. And this segues nicely into Trivia Tuesday, because I have an Owen Heineke-related trivia
question
really?
for you. Before we get to that, Sooner from SoCal on the YouTube chat, Parker, you need to burn that hideous sweatshirt you're wearing.
What, it says Nebraska?
It might be Nebraska.
Yeah, it's a red Nebraska. It says Nebraska. It's the state of Nebraska, not Nebraska the school. It's an American flag made up of fish.
Is that fish?
Yes,
okay.
Fish.
Okay.
I don't think the fishing scene is huge up in Nebraska, but maybe I just grew up in the wrong part of the state. But I saw this on the rack for $15 at guess where? Ross Dress for Less. And I say, you know what? I got to have that. How often you see a Nebraska sweatshirt in the state of Oklahoma? So I grabbed it.
Julio says, can you repeat the quote again? That was a banger. Yes, being in charge is not only knowing when to enforce the law, it's when knowing not to.
It's good stuff. Almost as good as. And you want to be my latex salesman. Somebody was catching my Seinfeld drift on the text line. I can't recall who texted that in. But here you go. Here's your Owen Heineke-related trivia question here for Trivia Tuesday, Grayson Singleton. Who was the last Oklahoma football player to win an eligibility appeal for non-injury-related reasons?
Ooh. Okay. How recent is this?
Within the last decade.
Okay. Baker Mayfield was in college for a minute. Is Baker Mayfield the answer?
That is the answer.
Yeah.
Well done.
Okay.
Well done. See, that's
go.
kind of a little lost piece of Baker Mayfield trivia right there.
What was the story behind that?
Yeah, he was not supposed to be eligible for the 2017 season.
Right.
And it was because when he left Texas Tech, there was a proviso at the time that obviously at the time you were an undergrad transfer, you had to sit out a year.
Right.
That had been in place for many, many, many years. But there was an additional proviso in the Big 12 rules the conference regulations that stipulated if you transfer in conference, you forfeit that year of eligibility. So Baker Mayfield wasn't eligible to play per NCAA rules in 2014, but per Big 12 rules, that year counted against him anyway.
Oh.
And so he had to fight to have that overturned in order to return to OU in 2017, which was obviously the year he took Oklahoma to the Rose Bowl and won the Heisman Trophy and wound up being the number 1 overall NFL draft pick. But I'm proud of well done. Good stuff. That's a good pull.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. What do you got for me?
All right, let's do it. This year, so Isaiah Satania led the team in receiving yards, but he didn't crack 1,000.
That is correct.
That is now 3 years in a row that Oklahoma has not had a 1,000-yard receiver. Can you name the last time that has happened?
Okay.
The last time Oklahoma went 3 consecutive years.
3 straight years without a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yes.
That's got to be, I'm going to say time period is early 2000s.
No.
Really?
It is not that far back.
Not that far back. Okay, shoot. Well, in that case, got to think 1,000-yard guys. Obviously, there's not going to be a gap of more than 3 years from like the Broyles, Westbrook, CeeDee Lamb era. So that would mean what? Okay, maybe late 2000s before Broyles got there. Was it kind of a case? I'm trying to think. Who like Sam Bradford was throwing the ball to Manny Johnson and Joaquin Iglesias.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's got to be somewhere in that late 2000s region. I'm going to say 05 to 07.
No, not that far back either.
Really?
No, not that far back. Okay, so Chris from OK, Oklahoma, is close. He said 13, 14, and 15.
Had to have been 12, 13, 14, right?
The answer is 12,
Yeah.
13, and 14. So 2012, Kenny Stills, 959 yards. 2013, Jalen Saunders led the team with 729 receiving yards. And 2014, Sterling Shepard had 970.
Yeah, 12, 13, 14. I said there couldn't have been a gap in the Broyles, D.D. Westbrook, C.D. Lamb era, but there was an exact.
It was right there.
Yes, because Broyles finished up in 2011. D.D. got here in 2015. So yeah, 12, 13, 14. That would have been it.
Yep.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that Isaiah Satania didn't manage to go over 1,000 because all he needed was 52 yards in the bowl game, and he had, I believe, his worst statistical output of the season.
Right. I mean, he caught a touchdown.
He did catch a touchdown, but he only had 17 receiving yards in the game.
Yeah, it didn't feel like he did a whole lot in the game outside of that touchdown.
He really didn't. It was Deion Burks that John Mateer was looking to.
Which, by the way,
most.
what a sighting that was. We hadn't heard a lot from Deion Burks.
No, man. He went out on a high note. He went out with a bang, no question about it. And that's going to do him some good in his draft prep to be able to direct scouts and NFL personnel to his final game as a Sooner and say, hey, look, you finally got to see what I'm capable of when I'm fully healthy and I'm given the opportunity to make plays in an offense.
Yeah, I thought he played well. By the way, your dude, Jermichael Carter, we didn't talk about this yesterday.
He can ball, man.
Your dude, Jermichael Carter,
come on.
He was good.
Yeah.
I was impressed. That's something going forward that you're pretty excited about.
He's going to be a weapon next year. No question about it. And he's going to have more opportunity next year as well. You can count on that. 405-651-3439 is the text line if you would like to chime in with your questions, comments, thoughts, opinions throughout the show, which is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. If you're shopping around for a new vehicle, check out Dorsey Jones. They offer outstanding service, and, of course, GMC offers some of the more reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today. Dorsey Jones in El Reno. We appreciate their partnership here on Locked In, and we will be back with another segment on the other side after a quick word from our sponsors. Keep it here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Motorcycle riders face extra dangers on the road because of distracted drivers. Each year, thousands of lives are forever changed by tragic crashes, leaving families to pick up the pieces.
We understand the emotional toll these crashes cause. Insurance companies don't. At McIntyre Law, we're here to level the playing field.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a motorcycle crash, call us at 405-777-7000. We are McIntyre Law, protecting Oklahoma riders one case at a time.
Where do Oklahoma sports fans go to watch the big game? Gridiron Sports Bar at River Spirit Casino Resort in Tulsa. With multiple viewing screens and a huge LED wall, you'll never miss a play. Enjoy bar-top gaming, Top Golf swing suites, delicious game day food and drinks, and a VIP lounge for top-tier players. Gridiron Sports Bar takes sports fans to another viewing level. Gridiron Sports Bar, Tulsa's fan favorite.
Winning in business means having the right teammate. Stride Bank's commercial banking experts are here with treasury management, lending, and cash flow solutions designed to help your business score big. From local startups to established enterprises, we've got the tools and expertise you need. Visit stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC. Stride Bank on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
Wrap up your year with good times and great rewards.
Because Riverwind is OKC's best casino.
Feel the thunder when you play your best hand yet.
Catch your favorite entertainment at the Showplace Theater.
And enjoy the gift that keeps on giving when you use your wild card.
Every Friday in December, join us for your share of our $80,000 Winter Wishes giveaway.
Make your season brighter at your favorite place to play.
And happy holidays from Riverwind Casino.
Speed can't be taught. You got it or you don't. Rose Hill Builders has it. Their game plan is efficient, and they do not cut corners for quality. Trust old coach here. Call Rose Hill Builders to get your approval process started today. Rose Hill Builders, the team you want on your side.
We're wrapping up the year and unwrapping the savings here in Pauls Valley. At Seth Wally Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Pauls Valley, you'll be unwrapping 0% on new Ram trucks. These are the final days of 0%. During the Wrap Up the Year sales event, you can get 0% for 72 months on new 2025 Ram trucks, or take $16,500 off MSRP on a new 2025 Ram 1500 Crew Cab 4-wheel drive Laramie. And how about new 2026 Rams with 0% for 60 months on top of all the Wrap Up the Year sales event prices? Plus, make no payments for 90 days. And always get America's best full-size truck powertrain warranty of 10 years and 100,000 miles. Oh, and if you have any challenges, just ask for me, Joseph Dabrowski, and you'll be getting a real gift with Seth's promise. Tell him, Seth.
That's my promise of oil changes and engines for life at no additional cost to you.
So get to the store with more at Seth Wadley Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, I-35 exit 72 in Pauls Valley, or click SethWadleyDodge.com.
0% must finance through Stellantis Financial, 25 Laramie, stock number D772961.
Hi, this is Nettie from The Local, Norman's newest restaurant, and we invite you to come check it out. The Local features delicious Okie cuisine like the famous local salad, mouth-watering bone-in pork chops, or the Okie burger, plus fantastic drink specials throughout the week. You can also enjoy brunch on Sundays starting at 10 a.m. Happy hour all day on college football Saturdays, you can't beat that. We have 3 locations in the metro: Yukon, Mustang, and the newest one in Norman at 110 West Main Street. Or visit thelocalrestaurant.com.
For the latest in Sooner and recruiting news, catch Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton on Locked In. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 3. Plus, you can now stream the show daily on the Ref's YouTube page.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
You know, sometimes, Grayson, you say something and it doesn't really dawn on you how stupid it sounded until like 10 seconds after the fact.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it happened to me as we were going into break. I was like, we'll be back with another segment on the other side. And I went, wait, no duh. Yes, there will be more radio ahead. Imagine that. I'm sorry, folks. Sometimes I'm just a moron. We all have our moments, don't we?
Hey, man, we're winding down 2025.
I guess so.
It's all good.
I'm already halfway mentally checked out for the holiday season. That's how I'll spin it. 405-651-3439 is the text line on this fine Festivus as we continue. Or I shouldn't say continue. I'm not going to air too many more grievances. Grayson hasn't aired any grievances yet. We'll get him there. Here's another grievance I have to air, man.
Okay.
Here's one thing I don't understand. Maybe there are people out there that can help me understand. Long-term dating relationships. And I'm not talking long-term like a year or two.
Okay.
I kid you not, Grayson. I went to high school with this couple who has been dating. Just dating, like at no point engaged, not married. They've been dating for 10 years. 10 plus years. And every single year that passes, I keep waiting for that engagement post to drop, right? Like, it's going to happen at some point. Right? Right?
You would think.
You would. Like 10 years, I'm pretty sure that's long enough to establish a common law marriage, isn't it?
I would think so.
It's astonishing to me.
Do they live together now?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I went to a Lutheran high school.
Okay.
And they're both Lutheran.
Okay.
And Lutherans aren't typically the cohabitating type.
No. Okay.
And so I just can't help but wonder, like, what's going on there? You know? So one of them, if not both, has got to have some sort of commitment issue, right?
They've been together 10 years.
10 years.
But
when you've been together 10 years, put a ring on it, man.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you've been together 10 years and have remained faithful to each other, you don't have commitment issues.
I guess in that sense, no.
Maybe they just don't want the government to get involved. I don't. That's why I asked. That's why I asked if they were living together, because then it's like, okay, well, are they kind of married in practice and just don't want the government to be involved? That would be my best guess.
580 My Concho says, "Is this a swinging situation or what?" I don't know, My Concho. I don't ask these types of questions. Hey, by the way, did you watch Monday Night Football last night?
Are we about to talk about Phillip Rivers?
So I take it you did?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. He looked all right.
Like sometimes we just all, as a society, need to stop and appreciate greatness. Because that was genuinely one of the more impressive individual performances I've ever seen from any athlete, circumstantially speaking. Grayson, we are talking about a guy who is 44 years old.
Grandpa.
Had been retired for 5 full seasons. And got signed off the couch by the Indianapolis Colts 14 days ago to, out of nowhere, be their starting quarterback. And he has the full dad bod look going, man. Like, he's 6'5". He's got to be 270 pounds minimum, right? And Phillip Marmalade Rivers is out there at 44 years old, 270 pounds, as immobile as I have ever seen any quarterback at the professional level. And he is dicing up the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
And you know how he's doing it? With his brain.
Yeah.
With his mind, with his instinct, with all of the things that he's learned over a quarter century of playing the quarterback position at a very high level. He is out there doing things that so few quarterbacks in today's game are capable of doing at the line of scrimmage and have been bred to do at the line of scrimmage. I loved the way ESPN presented the broadcast last night.
Yeah.
Because before every single snap, they pretty much just put a hot mic on Rivers, and Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, to their credit, would shut up.
Which they're really good at.
They're really good at it. And people hate on Joe Buck, but Joe Buck is one of those broadcasters that knows exactly when not to talk.
Exactly.
Which is an art.
Yes.
And they would shut up, and for 15, 20 seconds, all you would hear, with the crowd noise in the background, is Phillip Rivers making all his calls and checks at the line of scrimmage. And he's changing protections.
Yeah.
And he's audibling into different passing concepts. And he's basically taking stock of what he's seeing from the 11 guys on the other side of the football. And he is coordinating his own offense in response to that. And it was a masterful performance, man. At 44 years old, he's incredibly physically limited. Like, not just in terms of his mobility, but in terms of his arm strength and his accuracy. He's 5 years out of practice. And yet he had a sensational performance, a near flawless performance last night against the 49ers. It was kind of marred by that last throw that wound up being a pick six, but Tyler Warren kind of sold him out on that one anyway. The 49ers won the football game 48-27 because Indianapolis couldn't play any defense. Like, Phillip Rivers arguably played better than anybody wearing blue on the football field last night.
I would say so.
At 44 years of age.
I would say so.
And I'm sitting I'm sitting there marveling in the moment at what he's doing. And it's completely thrown me for a loop ever since as to how quarterbacks are being taught and coached and developed in the modern era. Because, again, how many professional signal callers in the game right now are capable of doing what he did last night?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was absolutely incredible what he did. LaDonna from Lubbock, by the way. Grayson just called a 44-year-old grandpa. No, he legit is a grandfather.
No, he is.
No, he has a child who has a child. He is legitimately a grandfather. But, no, like, as painful as it was to watch him move around, there was the one play where he scrambled out to his left, and my stomach literally did a 360 because I was like, this just does not look right. But to his credit, he fired that first touchdown pass to Alec Pierce in the back of the end zone. That was a frozen rope. And every other pass, you were just wondering, man, how did that make it to the receiver? But, dude, he got it done. He's getting it done. And, I mean, 44 years old, arm doesn't look all that fantastic. There's only one way he can actually make this work. And that's by outsmarting you and outthinking you when it comes to knowing the game.
And here's the segue, folks, because these texts are starting to roll in. Isn't this an OU football show? Remember when this was a recruiting show? I'm getting there. I'm tying it back to OU football here. Be patient. Here's the segue, Grayson. I'm sitting there watching Phillip Rivers, and you know who I couldn't get off my mind in that moment? Jackson Arnold.
Why were you thinking about Jackson Arnold?
Here's why. Because watching Phillip Rivers and how he operated last night caused me to kind of have an epiphany about quarterback play.
Okay.
And it made me wonder. It made me audibly ask the question, do we value the wrong things in quarterbacks these days? Have we become so enamored with athleticism and arm strength at the quarterback position that we have ceased to place adequate value on the mental, the cognitive aspect of playing the position? And I was thinking through what we saw, or rather didn't see, from Jackson Arnold during his time at both Oklahoma and Auburn. I'm thinking through what we've seen and haven't seen from John Mateer here in 2025. I'm sitting here wondering, man, if Phillip Rivers is this capable of going to work like a surgeon against an NFL defense at 44 years of age after 5 years retired, what happens? What has the possibility, what has the potential to happen when you identify an 18-year-old quarterback who is capable of processing and adjusting pre-snap at that same level, but also has all of the physical gifts that Phillip Rivers does not possess at 44?
Somebody in the YouTube chat just said, does Dr. Shin do brain transplants?
Oh, gosh.
No, but I'm going to answer your question with a question. When you think of the NFL, or even when you think of high-level college football, how many quarterbacks is their calling card their mentals? You and I grew up in an era with Phillip Rivers and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, dudes that could outthink you, right? I can't name one quarterback that when we first think of that quarterback, we say, oh, yeah, he's head and shoulders ahead of everybody else because of upstairs. And I think you can see it in the college game, too. Like, I think that form of quarterback is going by the wayside. Like, you and I watch a ton of college football. Name a college quarterback who just outsmarts you. Now, I will say this, and I know OU fans are going to hate me for this, but being in the stadium and watching Ty Simpson operate Alabama's offense.
I think he's one of the better ones.
I think Ty Simpson's one of the better ones. I mean, I've seen him on the road, by the way, in the environment that Sooner Nation brought. He is going up, and he's pointing out protections. He's changing people's routes. He's moving people around. I think Ty Simpson's one of the better ones at actually operating and playing the position with his brain. And it was, honestly, it was a treat to watch from my vantage point. I'm not going to lie. But how many of those quarterbacks are there that are actually doing that? You can probably count on one hand.
And I think it's kind of, especially when we look at the NFL, it's kind of become a golden age of the old head lately. Matthew Stafford might win MVP.
He's about to win the MVP.
In the year of our Lord 2025. Joe Flacco is still doing the thing, man. Like, Phillip Rivers is far from the only example. Aaron Rodgers is taking the Steelers to the playoffs at age 42 and looking dang good doing it. Now, obviously, he has always had ridiculous arm talent as well, so it's not as if he's only winning games with his brain and his mental. But a great point from a 405 listener. Ty Simpson is a coach's son.
He is.
So he's had the cerebral aspect of his game honed from a very early age. Boomer Barba says, look at the cerebral quarterbacks at OU who never made it in the league but excelled in college. Bradford, Jason White, Josh Heupel.
Mm-hmm.
When is there going to be a correction? When is the pendulum going to swing back? Because we have become so enamored with athletic freakazoids at the quarterback position to the point where a guy like Anthony Richardson, despite producing very minimally at the collegiate level, winds up being the number 1 overall draft pick.
I'll give you another one, Trey Lance.
Trey Lance is another great example, and there are several that you can cite over the years. When do we see the pendulum swing back in favor of quarterbacks who might not be terribly physically gifted, but they just have a different level on which they're processing?
I have an answer for you. I think when these offensive coaches' egos come down. And the reason being is, you look at the Kyle Shanahans of the world, the Kevin Stefanskis of the world, what do those kinds of people have in common? They want quarterbacks to do what they tell them to do, right? You're going to do this. This is going to be open. Throw the ball there. And I think that in conjunction with the rise of the RPO, I know we blame a lot on the RPO, but, I mean, there is things to blame on the RPO. That combined with the RPO and the fact that there's a lot of offensive coordinators and play callers that just want a quarterback to come in and just do what they ask them to do. There's either that or there's the quarterback with ridiculous arm talent that he uses to beat exceptional athletes. And that's the other thing about this too, Parker, is that these defensive players have gotten a lot better. They're faster. They're quicker. The guys who are bigger are faster and quicker. So sometimes you need that electric arm talent and that athleticism to beat these dudes. So ultimately what's going to happen is you're going to have a marriage of the two. Dudes with an exceptional brain for the game that are also hyper athletic. Because I don't know in this day and age, because linebackers aren't getting any slower, and they're certainly not getting that much smaller. I don't know if this day and age, if you can have a average to below average arm, but an exceptional brain and be winning like you could back in the early 2000s.
580 Mike Honcho on the text line says, our quarterback checks into pick sixes. We are not the same.
It certainly looks like
facepalm.
It certainly looked like, man, that he might have checked into a pick six.
No, he did. He did. He admitted after the game he checked into that. It was bad.
Ugh.
It was bad. Hey, let's talk about OU and the transfer portal coming up next. How about that? We'll hit a break. One final segment on the other side before we turn it over to Tyler and Ted on the Rush. Keep it here on the Ref, the Homeless Sooner fans. We will return on the other side.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Feeling stuck in your current home? Now is the best time to make a move. Home Creations is making home ownership more affordable with low interest rate opportunities and special financing. Don't wait. Live like a champion today. Call Holly at 405-364-9999 to find your dream home.
364-9999 means Home Creations. Entrepreneurs and More Norman in South Oklahoma City have an experienced business partner in their neighborhood. More Norman Technology Center's workforce and economic development team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, More Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about More Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it expanding your balance. Spend it expanding your mind. Spend it wondering what comes next. Spend it trusting that God has a plan. Spend it taking small steps in your own life. Spend it making a big impact on someone else's. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Speed can't be taught. You got it or you don't. Rose Hill Builders has it. Their game plan is efficient and they do not cut corners for quality. Trust old coach here. Call Rose Hill Builders to get your approval process started today. Rose Hill Builders, the team you want on your side.
Hey, Oklahoma, Colton Thompson here at Norman Hyundai. The holidays are right around the corner, and we know you've got places to be. Grandma's house, holiday shopping, and maybe even a little road trip. So we've got great deals on the full Hyundai lineup to make your season just a little brighter. Deals like 2.9% on the all-new Palisade or even 0% on the Hyundai Santa Fe and Tucson. Plus, with America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles, you'll drive away with confidence knowing we've got your back. NormanHyundai.com.
They don't want to hire you because your paper might say Oklahoma School for the Blind.
I was just completely homebound because I was always too afraid to go outside. I want to be a productive member of society, and that's what DRS has given me.
They offer you opportunities to getting a job, helping you learn how to advocate for yourself, find the best way to try living your life in the fullest way possible.
Oklahoma and DRS has been the biggest blessing in my life.
See me.
And not my disability.
Hey y'all, I'm Kelly Clarkson. Every American dreams of creating a better life for his or her family, but in some communities, those dreams face difficult challenges. When we come together to help those in need get the same opportunities as everyone else, we truly are making our country a better place to live for all of us. So look for volunteer opportunities in your community to help others achieve the American dream, all right? This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
Hey, this is OEC Fiber. Are you tired of slow internet? With our gig speed fiber, your whole household can stream, game, and work at the same time without buffering. OEC Fiber gives you reliable speeds up to a full gig and a friendly local support team in Oklahoma. Ready to plug in speed you can count on? Visit oecfiber.com or tap your screen now. That's OEC Fiber. Fast, local, and trustworthy.
(405-651-3439) is the text line if you want to get into your portal-related questions before we wrap up. Our final locked in before Christmas break. Parker Thune alongside Grayson Singleton. A 402 listener asked, rumor has it we are getting Jace Brown. True? That would be great if it were. He is a very talented wide receiver, obviously formerly the Kansas State Wildcats, but Texas A&M is the school that looks like they're in the driver's seat there. And somebody asked earlier, is it true Oklahoma's in a really, really good spot with Cam Coleman? Well, first off, Cam Coleman isn't in the portal yet.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I do have it on good authority, and I think it's pretty commonly known, that Oklahoma has a good deal of money set aside for Cam Coleman, a big-time receiver in general, but especially a guy like Cam Coleman if he does get in the transfer portal. However, you have to understand that if Cam Coleman, of all people, hits the transfer portal, he's probably going to be one of the top 5 most coveted players in the entire portal cycle, regardless of position.
Oh, yeah.
And so, who was it that says a Chrysler 300 looked like a Phantom till a Phantom pull up?
Oh, I know the quote. I can't even think.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Help us out. Help us out on the text line.
Oklahoma is the Chrysler 300 in this analogy, because the harsh reality of the situation is that there are several schools that are just playing at a way, way higher level on a completely different playing field than all the rest right now. And Oklahoma is, for the time being, in the all the rest category. Miami, Oregon, Texas Tech, for instance, if any of those three schools get involved with Cam Coleman when he hits the portal, the price is going way up.
Mm-hmm.
And just realize that Texas Tech specifically is kind of in a position right now where they will get almost whoever they want to get.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes down to bidding the most money for a player's services, I think Tech has demonstrated that they are willing to pay whatever it takes to just straight up buy a championship. I mean, they're not shying away from it.
Nope.
And I don't blame them for it. You know what? Smoke them if you got them. Cody Campbell and the Red Raiders have a ton of money that they are willing to spend to try and win a college football national championship.
I mean, you as a Dodgers fan probably wouldn't be the right person to be mad at Texas Tech for assembling the Avengers to win a championship.
Yeah, I mean, look, I kind of feel the same way about the Dodgers as I do about Texas Tech. Does there need to be some long-term regulation to level the playing field? Absolutely, yes. But in the interim, when it's just kind of organized chaos, and if you got the money, you can spend it however you darn well see fit, more power to you.
You know, Sammy Brown is a name that keeps coming up on the text line literally all day.
Yeah, and that's odd to me. I understand there's a past connection to Oklahoma. He took an official visit, but I find it very hard to believe he's going to leave Clemson. And furthermore, I find it even harder to believe that Brent Venables is going to take a guy from Dabo Swinney. And, like, if it's the type of deal where Sammy Brown makes the decision, I don't necessarily know what's coming next. I'm going to enter the transfer portal because I just got to get out of Clemson, South Carolina. That's all fine and well. And, okay, sure, Oklahoma would be involved then. But especially when we look back at a case like Jaden Ott, for instance, I think it's understood that when a guy hits the transfer portal, 60, 70% of the time he has a good idea where he's going. I don't know that Oklahoma's going to be back-channeling for Sammy Brown. Brent Venables has enough respect and appreciation for Dabo Swinney that he's probably not going to allow the program to engage in that type of activity when it pertains to one of Dabo's players.
Now, I know, and I asked this question because I genuinely want an answer. I know he didn't want to take players from Clemson when he left.
Mm-hmm.
Does he still operate that same way now that he's established himself, or is that just going to be how he does it? Is that I'm not taking any players ever from Dabo Swinney, or has that kind of worn off?
Well, I would be lying if I said I knew exactly what was going on in Brent Venables' head, but if we just look at what evidence we can examine objectively, there's never been a Clemson transfer that's played a snap at the University of Oklahoma. To this day, since Brent Venables arrived on campus as head coach, Oklahoma has not taken a transfer from the Tigers.
Now, here's the other part of this. Jimmy on the YouTube chat with a very interesting point. Nagy would.
Yes, I'm sure he would.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure he would. Jim Nagy, understandably, because of his background, is a lot more cutthroat than Brent Venables is in that sense. So it's not necessarily all up to BV anymore. We'll see. That would necessitate Sammy Brown entering the portal in the first place, which I'm not sitting around waiting for that to happen. Now, Tyson from Stigler wanted to know, will we go after the Kansas State linebacker that's in the portal, that being Austin Romaine?
Mm-hmm.
I would expect Oklahoma to be involved there. Yes.
Austin Romaine's a solid player, too.
He's a really good player.
Yeah. I like him.
And then don't forget Jake Clifton, the other Kansas State linebacker, Owasso native.
Yeah.
I expect him to get in the portal in January as well. And I don't know what Oklahoma's level of interest is going to be in him when there are no doubt going to be several linebackers come portal season that are just fawning over Oklahoma and dying for the chance to come play linebacker at the University of Oklahoma. I don't know how eager Oklahoma is going to be to pursue a guy that is a year and a half removed at this point from Has it been a year and a half? Was it the 2023 season he last played, or was it the 2024 season? Regardless, it's been a good while since Jake Clifton played college football. I think it has been 2 full seasons.
He was the one that was on a mission, right?
Yes, he was on a mission. I think his last action came in 2023, so I think he is 2 years removed from playing college football at this point. So with the scholarship limit getting hiked up to 105, maybe there's a world where Oklahoma adds him for depth purposes, but certainly Austin Romaine is a guy that would be higher on the priority list. What do you think has to be on the priority list for Oklahoma as we get ready to break for Christmas and not do a show again for another 6 days?
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one that's been underrated, and we've talked about linebacker, we've talked about receiver and whatnot. How about a tackle? I think they need to bring in another tackle.
Especially with the news today that Jacob Sexton
is
portal.
out the door. Yes. So Jake Taylor, I've been here 2 years. I feel like I've seen Jake Taylor take 2 snaps at Oklahoma, if that. So Simmons is going to be out of eligibility. Dent already hit the portal. I think you need to go for another portal tackle to solidify that right side. Because Foje I see as a guard moving forward. So you've got your interior 3 pretty much set for next year if Michael comes back. Fasusi on the left, get you a right tackle. I think that's where I'm looking.
Interesting. I agree. I think Oklahoma needs another offensive tackle for depth's sake, maybe 2. I think Ryan Foje is going to play right tackle, though.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think that's where he fits long term. And I think when you have 2 guys in Fasusi and Foje that are that talented, that good, and made the impact that they did as true freshmen, even if they didn't play flawless football every single time out, you want to keep those guys happy, and the easiest way to keep them happy is to play them at tackle. And they're obviously both good enough to do it. Fasusi at the left, Foje at the right. I think those are your bookends for the next 2 years at Oklahoma. And so I do expect Oklahoma to add another interior offensive lineman, likely a versatile guy that can play all 3 positions along the lines of somebody like Michaela from last season. And tackle depth is certainly, like, that has to be a priority in the portal, especially because – did Luke Baklenko see the field again ever after Illinois State?
If he did, it was in spot duty for 2 snaps.
So you got Logan Howland. He's a real good swing tackle that adds depth at that spot. And you have Deacon Schmidt, the true freshman, coming in. You got a couple other guys here and there that can play offensive tackle. I don't know that Jake Taylor's around in 2026. Daniel Akankumi obviously played 1 snap at left tackle in the Texas game out of sheer necessity. But, yeah, you got to have more tackles. You got to have at least 1, perhaps 2. And maybe you get lucky and find a guy that is capable of playing both inside and outside, kind of like Foje is in the portal.
Drew from Flower Mound says Baklenko came in the Texas game.
You're right. He did. He was playing right tackle in that game. Yes, you're right. Good call, Drew from Flower Mound. But somebody said, who is Luke Baklenko? I think that about sums it up.
Robert Spears Jennings has announced he's entering the draft.
Yeah, which
I mean, no surprise.
He didn't have a choice, did he?
I mean, yeah,
he was out of eligibility. So
yeah,
yes, he is headed to the draft, as are all of the graduating seniors. And we continue to wait on decisions from Kip Lewis and Isaiah Satania most specifically. I guess it's not out of the question that somebody else with eligibility remaining could declare for the draft, but it would be a real ill-advised decision. It would be like an Adrian Ely level decision for anybody else beyond those 2 to declare from the draft with remaining eligibility. You probably don't even remember Adrian Ely.
No.
That was a 2021 draft that he declared for, I think, as a redshirt sophomore. He did not get drafted. I don't think he stuck on anybody's practice squad very long either. That was a gross miscalculation. So he was a good player at Oklahoma.
Yeah, who told him to go to the draft?
I don't know, man, but some of these kids get agents in their ears, and they make hasty decisions that are ill-advised. We all thought it was an ill-advised decision when Jalen Redmond declared for the draft a year early after the 2022 season, and he had to take the long way.
Yeah, it's worked out for him.
But it's worked out, man. He's made it work.
But
props to that dude.
But it took him an unconventional route.
Yeah, he had to go the UDFA route, had to work his way up onto 53-man rosters from the practice squad, and now he seems to have a long-term landing spot and his feet underneath him up there in Minnesota. So good for Jalen Redmond, but if you're going to declare, you want to be absolutely certain you're going to hear your name called. All right, folks. We are done for the week. Not only done for the day, done for the week here on Locked In. Again, in case you aren't aware, half day of shows tomorrow. Steely and I will be on air, I believe, 9 to 10:30.
That sounds about right.
You can hear me again then. You can hear me and Grayson again on the other side of the holiday. We will be back next Monday with another edition of Locked In for you, and hopefully we will have plenty of juicy Portal intel to share at that time. The Rush is coming up next. Tyler and Ted take over on the other side. This is The Ref, the Sooner Fans.